Hi everybody and welcome back to today's little bite-sized thrive with me, Kim Forrester. These little bite-sized thrives where I'm encouraging us all to take small yet significant steps in our lives every day to enhance our well-being from the inside out. How are you? How are you feeling at the moment? What can you do to enhance your well-being that has nothing to do with what's going on around you out there? Now, this week I'm talking about social connection, and I am having to talk about topics and subjects that are a little discomforting for some people, and I actually think that's really important. I am doing it on purpose. The fact is that our greatest growth, our greatest well-being, our greatest evolution as individuals and as a species does not always lie, in fact does not often lie, within what we feel is comfortable or easy or feels nice and pleasant to listen to. We have to get into that discomfort zone if we really want to do what is best for us. Now, I grew up in 1970s small city New Zealand. From the age of 3 to the age of 18, I lived in the same house on Cecil Street, and we knew our neighbours. We had such a fabulous community there the entire time that I grew up in that space. We knew all the neighbours' names. All the kids would gather after school or in the weekends and in the holidays to play together, playing tennis on the street or playing hide and seek or bull rush out on the sports field. The parents all knew each other's names, and we would often gather together as a community to have barbecues. So I grew up with this understanding that social connection, that a knowledge of and a connection with your neighbours and your immediate community is natural and is really inspiring and uplifting. I lived with that as a child, so it's little wonder that I have come to live my life that way in whatever neighbourhood I'm living in. And because we've moved around the world so often, I've had many neighbourhoods that I've lived in. But I spontaneously and instinctively like to get to know the people around me in my community. So I will move into a space and go and introduce myself to the neighbours. I know for some of you that sounds like really weird and possibly really discomforting and even something that you would regard to be impossible. I am aware, because I have lived around the world, that there are different cities, different spaces, different cultures where talking to people you don't know is actually regarded as weird, strange, or even a bit rude. But here's what I want to touch on today. It is actually vitally important for us to get to know the people in our communities, in our immediate communities. The statistics do not paint a very bright picture, okay? So the numbers vary across cultures and across countries, but generally speaking, if you're in the UK or the USA, for instance, about 16% of all people do not know a single name of a single person in their neighbourhood. 16% of people could not name one person that they see in their community on a regular basis. And it gets worse as the generations get younger. So we are actually getting worse at being connected to our neighbourhood. Millennials, it tends to be about a quarter. So 25% of all millennials cannot name one person by name that lives around them in their neighbourhood. Now, like I say, there's no judgment here. I understand that for many people, that is just the way it is. We have become more insular as a species, particularly in urban living. We have become more disconnected from others. We have become more mistrustful of others, and that's what I touched on in my last video. But just because we have a trend towards disconnection and insular living and mistrust and not knowing our neighbours, it doesn't mean it's good for us. We have all sorts of trends that we have subtly bought into and that we have subtly perpetuated over generations that are not good for us. Look at how much sugar and how many processed foods we have come to consume in Western society in particular. And that's certainly not good for us, and yet is a trend that is growing through our own personal choices and behaviour. Now, I'm saying this and I am confronting you with this, I know, but it's really truly important to understand just because we have come to believe that it's normal and natural and common not to know your neighbours or to not know people's names, just because we've come to believe that it is normal and natural and common to keep to yourself, and don't talk to people that you don't know, that doesn't mean it's what's best for us. In fact, all the science, all of our history as a human species shows us that we must connect with our communities if we truly want to thrive. And here's the thing, many cultures and many people around the world have bought into this trend of disconnection and insular living and mistrust. I understand that many cultures have bought into that, and that is the norm. But it is up to us as individuals to reverse that trend. It is up to us as individual members of our society to decide that, you know what, the way we are traveling as a species, or the way we're traveling as a culture or a community or a city, it is not healthy for us. And I will take personal responsibility. That's what each of us need to say. I will take personal responsibility to reverse that trend and to help compel us and propel us back towards a healthier connection with people around us in our communities and neighbourhoods. So how do we do that? I know that it's desperately difficult for a lot of people, particularly if you are in an environment where you will be frowned upon or looked at as very strange if you try to strike up a conversation with someone, but do it anyway. The neighbourhood I'm in here in Singapore, a lot of people here were very insular. They weren't particularly interested in waving back to me or giving me a cheery hello when I said that to them in the morning. And then when we went into lockdown in April of 2020, I did what I have always been compelled to do, and that is connect with my neighbourhood, connect with my community. And I went around to every single house in the street. There's about 20 of them. I put a little red balloon and a note in English and in Mandarin in each of the letterboxes. And it just simply said, if you are put into lockdown, if you're put into quarantine because you've come into contact with someone with COVID-19, please blow up this red balloon and hang it by your letterbox so that we can all see. Then we will know as a community, as a little street here, that you are locked in your home. I will come to you and I will check on you and make sure that you have all the essentials and see if there's any errands that I can run on your behalf, knowing that you are unable to leave your home. Now, the response from my neighbours was just phenomenal, and it was instantaneous. All of a sudden, I had people leaving gifts for me and neighbours coming and from the 2 metre distance all masked up saying, that was so lovely, that note that you put in my letterbox. We as human beings are wired to respond to human connection, and often all it takes is for one person to break the ice. So I understand that if you go out there and you start connecting with people around you, there may be some who are simply not interested. They have bought into this whole idea of insular living and disconnection from the people around them. Keep doing it anyway, because more often than not, you will find people who respond truly positively. Now, when I talk about connecting with people, I don't mean that you have to suddenly become friends with everyone. It is unlikely that you are going to have personalities that match, right? Or belief systems that match, or social systems that match everybody in your neighborhood to the degree that you can actually become good friends and enjoy a drink or a dinner together. That's okay. But here's what we can all do, and this is your homework over the coming days. We can all at least break the ice and become less of strangers, right? I'm not sure if I articulated that right, but less of a stranger. Become less of a stranger to the people in your environment that you see regularly. Whether it is the neighbour that you constantly see out by the letterbox or in the lift, or whether it's the barista or the doorman, the people on the train that you regularly see, the people at the coffee shop that work there the same time you do, there are faces in your environment that are incredibly familiar to you. And the first step is just simply go up to 1 or 2 or 5 of these familiar faces at some point over the coming days. Say, hey, I see you all the time, and I feel like I should know your name. What is your name? That is it. Just form a really simple yet powerful connection. Take the stranger in your neighbourhood, in your environment, in your community, and make them somewhat less of a stranger. It is through these incredible human connections that we form the support networks that we all need individually and as communities when times of trouble and challenge come, like COVID. I'm thinking of the Christchurch earthquake. The communities just came together. It is so much more beneficial for us to understand who lives around us and to know their names. So there you go, another possibly discomforting and confronting video for you. But I'm here to share with you what is best for you, okay? Not always what feels most easy or pleasant. So, little bite-sized thrive, go out there, introduce yourself to the familiar faces in your environment, and do take steps to get to know who lives around you in your neighbourhood. I promise that more often than not, you will be rewarded with a positive response, and it can only serve to help us all thrive that much better and reverse this awful trend of disconnection and loneliness and insular living that we are perpetuating in our societies. Be well, beautiful people. I will be back soon with another little bite-sized thrive. Remember, I offer private consultations. Take yourself off to kimforrester.net if you want to learn more. And I'm here to be of service with you, share all that I know to help us all turn 2021 into something 2020 wonderful. Long video, important. See you next time. Bye.